And we are still in chart 4. There's actually a lot to cover in this chart, the power of choice. And the next thing that we're going to discuss on that chart is Eve's lack of knowledge for God's Word. The next tragic step of this scenario is that Eve did not really know what God had said. Eve's statement sounds very close to what God said, but God forbid us to add or take away one word from what He said. Eve added to what God said, and the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And that's Genesis 3, 2 through 3. Once again, let us compare this statement with what God actually said. Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat. For the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. God did not say, neither shall ye touch it. Again, at first glance, this addition may not seem important, but we are not dealing with the word of people. We are handling the word of God. While it may seem that Eve strengthened God's commandment by adding a condition that He did not mention, we must realize that we cannot strengthen God's word. If we add our own conditions, we go beyond the Word of God. By thus inquiring what the Lord had said, Eve revealed to the serpent a major flaw in her ability to resist temptation. A careful study of the interpretation of Jesus in Matthew 4 will further clarify this point. The only way to resist the temptation of Satan effectively is to respond to his efforts with the Word of God, the pure Word of God, as did with Jesus. Satan will attempt to enhance his temptation with his version of the Word. He misquoted and misapplied a verse from Psalms 91. Being the Word made flesh, Jesus caught him in his error and was not trapped. Satan is still in the business today of tripping up the unworthy. Those who do not know for themselves what God actually said. If Jesus were not too great to be tempted by Satan, neither are we. And we cannot vote the devil out of existence. If he is not around, someone is certainly doing his work. A young man once asked, suppose that you didn't believe in the devil. And he said, I have to believe in the devil, or else I would have to believe I'm my own devil. One thing just to learn here is how important it is to study the Word of God. When Jesus was tempted, he replied every time by using the Word. And when Eve added to the Word, one thing that she did was she let Satan know her weakness, that she didn't know the Word completely. Then he knew get in there